On today's episode, we'll be making a tomato basil soup from scratch, and we're gonna top it off with some fried halloumi cheese croutons. You do not wanna miss this. My name is Scott, this is Learning Vegetarian. Let's get started. Hi everyone. On today's episode, we're going to be making a homemade tomato basil soup from scratch. And then to make it even better, we're going to fry some halloumi cheese into little fried croutons, and we're going to top it off with that. If you've never had halloumi cheese, stick around because this is so delicious and so tasty. You're going to be so impressed and you're going to love it. Before we get started, I wanted to have a quick moment of gratitude and say thank you so much for watching me for the last 3 weeks. I've had so much fun putting the show together and cannot wait to keep going. If you want to help out, all you got to do is hit the like button below, give me a thumbs up. But until then, thank you so much. Continue to watch, and let's get on with our recipe. For this recipe, we'll be using 4 pounds of heirloom tomatoes, garlic, basil, oregano, salt and pepper, vegetable stock, and halloumi cheese. We'll be using some olive oil to fry the cheese. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get our oven started. We're gonna chop up all of our vegetables, get those on a half sheet, and we're gonna get those in the oven. So turn your oven to 425, and let's get this thing rolling. Start by coring the tomatoes and chopping in half. We'll place in the bowl to mix with our other ingredients. Now, if you've cooked with me before, you know I love heirloom tomatoes. Look how beautiful this tomato is. It is just so gorgeous. I love the coloring on these. Slice your onions into thin rings and separate into the bowl. Peel your garlic, chop off the ends, and place in the bowl. Pour on your olive oil and toss. Cover with your oregano, salt and pepper, and toss again. On a lined half sheet, place your vegetables with the open face of the tomato facing down. Make sure to spread everything out so everything can get cooked evenly. Okay, so we're gonna these are all done. I'm gonna stick these in the oven for about 35-40 minutes. We're just gonna make sure that the ends of the tomatoes are nice and caramelized and the onions are just starting to turn brown on the edges. I will see you on the other side. Look at that. Oof. Okay, everything looks wonderful. The onions are nice and crisp. We've got the skins about ready to come off, so as soon as these are cool, we'll pull those off. We're gonna throw these in the blender. I'm gonna throw in some basil and then we're gonna stick it on the stove. So follow along and we'll keep going. For this next step, we'll want to remove all the skins from the tomatoes. By letting them sit for 5 to 10 minutes or cool to the touch, the skin should easily peel right off. Once the skins are all removed, place the contents of the tray into your blender. Add in your vegetable stock, add in your basil, put on the lid and let that blender go. We're gonna blend this for about 1 to 2 minutes or until a nice creamy consistency. Once everything's nice and blended, pour it into a nice stock pot and place on the stove. Okay, so we've got it in the pan. This looks and smells so good. I cannot wait to have this for lunch today. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick this on the stove. I'm gonna bring it to a boil just to get it hot. I'm gonna bring, and then we're gonna lower it down to a simmer, and we're just gonna let this simmer for about an hour. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you how to get the cheese ready, and we're gonna take it to the next step. For this next section, we'll be working with halloumi cheese. Now, if you've never worked with halloumi cheese, the consistency is almost like a soft rubber. You'll want to cut the cheese in half and then into quarters again, into small, maybe half-inch sized chunks. We don't want them too small because we'll be frying them and it's difficult to maneuver in the pan. In a skillet, heat up some oil. When the oil is at the right temperature, place your cheese one by one carefully into the pan. We're going to let these sit for about 3 to 5 minutes. I like to roast mine on every side. Some people like to only do 1 or 2 sides. It's up to you. Once you've browned a couple sides of the cheese, place on a plate with a paper towel to drain the grease. To serve this, place the soup in a bowl, top with your cheese croutons, garnish with some basil, and maybe add some sour cream or Greek yogurt.
This is so good.
I had an amazing time with you today while we made some tomato basil soup. We topped it off with some fried cheese. I cannot wait to dig into this, so I'm gonna let you go. Take this recipe, make it your own. My name is Scott. This is Learning Vegetarian. Until next time.